Hi there, this is Teri from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a Christmas card. I've used the Perfectly Plaid stamp set together with some of the paper from the Wrapped in Plaid 6-inch paper stack. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for the various elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, you can take a screenshot and refer to it later. This is the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, and I'm using this tree image today and the Merry Christmas sentiment. I'm using Night of Navy ink to stamp the trees. I've already prepared my Whisper White cardstock panel, and I've just used a pencil and ruler to divide it in half, horizontally, vertically and diagonally, and this will help me stamp my trees straight. I only want to stamp the branches of the tree, I don't want to stamp the trunk, so I'm going to make sure the trunk extends off the card. So I'm aligning my tree along that pencil line and then just stamping it down. There are now 3 new metallic pigment inks available through Stampin Up. Golden Glitz, which is the one I used on my original card, Celestial Copper, and Silvery Shimmer, which is the one I'm going to use today. Make sure you erase all the pencil lines before you start the colouring. I'm going to use a separate palette to hold my ink while I colour, and I'm just going to press the ink pad gently onto the palette. Now I also want a little bit of water, but I'm going to keep this separate to the ink, and then I'm going to use a dry aqua painter to apply the colour. You don't want this ink to get too wet. I'm just going to pick up a drop of water and mix that in with the ink, and then I can start to apply it. And you just want to paint it on as you would any other ink, covering all the leaves with the silver colour. Now I'm not going to show you this whole process because it does take some time, so you just continue on until you've coloured all your trees. Once your tree panel's complete, you then want to go ahead and colour your designer series paper. Now all I'm doing here is adding a little silver dot at the centre of all those little stars. So you want to cover the whole sheet. Again, I'm not going to show you this whole process, it took far too long. And this is both the mats once they've been completely painted with that silver ink. Now I've also ran each of these through the Big Shot with the subtle embossing folder. I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment using silver powder. I'm just using my embossing buddy to remove any static from this scrap Whisper White cardstock, and then I'm using that same silver pad to stamp my sentiment. Then I can cover this with the silver powder. I'll then use my heat tool to melt the powder. I'm going to cut this out using one of the rectangle stitched frameless dies, and it's the smallest one of the larger grouping. Hope that makes sense. All these panels can then be layered onto their respective mats. I have a white mat for the inside of the card, and I've just decorated this using a strip of the silver foil and added a little of the matching designer series paper on top. And I've also painted this again using the silver ink. I'm now going to go ahead and add that designer series paper panel to the front of my card. I've added dimensionals to the reverse of my tree panel, and I'm going to centre this now onto the front of my card. And I'm just using my grid paper to help me do this. I've marked the centre point along each edge, and I'm aligning the centre of the trees with this point. It just helps me get it straight. I've also added dimensionals to the back of the sentiment panel, so I can now remove the backings and centre this onto the front of my card as well. I've cut out these 6 foliage sprays from silver foil, and I used one of the dies from the In the Woods framelets set. I'm going to add 2 of them around the sentiment panel, and I'm just trimming off 1 leaf from each of these so they'll fit nicely, and then I'm going to tuck them under that panel. The remaining 4 will be added to 2 of the corners on the tree panel. So I'm just working out where to put them first of all, and then I'll glue them down. And that's it, my card is complete. It's beautiful and shiny. Now here's my original one. This was using the Golden Glitz ink. And then of course I couldn't leave Celestial Copper out, could I? So I had to make a third. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.